We're going to be making custom 3D vegetation for CryEngine 3 using 3ds Max 2012, and don't worry if you don't know how to model, you can still follow along. I have all my snapping set on, and in the Create tab I'm going to make a plane, and I'm going to use the 2D view to drag it out, and I'm actually going to define the parameters 0.5 meters length by 1 meter wide, and we're going to go into the Modify tab. You can use the Q keyboard on your keyboard to select this object, right click on the plane and turn it into an editable poly. And with the poly selected, we're going to hit E to rotate, and I'm going to use the top view so that I can get an accurate rotation. Hold the Shift key and rotate, and that's going to copy out a new polygon for you. So you can see we have 2 polygons now, and hit yes, okay. You're going to make a copy, and let's do the exact same thing. Hold Shift while you rotate, and let's do it 45 degrees this time. So we'll hit OK, and then we'll do this one 90 degrees. Alright, now you can hit Q on your keyboard to go into select mode and select one of these polygons, and in the Modify tab find the Attach modifier and use the parameters box next to it, and we're going to hold Control to select all the other polygons we just made and hit Attach, and that's going to combine them into one polygon. And we're going to make sure it's an editable poly, and we're going to rename it 3D Veg 01. Now this is an extremely basic shape for a vegetation model. In the forums at justmakegames.com we'll be showing you what they should actually look like, and we'll be discussing how to get the technique perfect, but for now we're just going to start texturing this, and let's go to Photoshop for that. Alright, now let's create a new file, and the dimensions are important, so it's going to be 128 by 64, and the first thing we want to do is double click background and hit OK to unlock that layer, and then down here is the create a new layer button, which will create a transparent layer on top. And I need to change my image mode to RGB color, but you probably don't need to. Now let's find a decent looking green, dark green for our grass, and we're going to use the brush tool. There's a preset that looks like blades of grass, and now find a good size that's not going to clip outside your texture, and I'm just going to slowly kind of click one by one, and this isn't realistically how you'd want to create a professional looking texture. We will have textures for you guys to download on justmakegames.com, and we'll also be discussing how to make better ones. There's at least 5 different ways to communicate on the website right now, so if you don't see them on there you can bug me. And that's a little too much, but that looks pretty good for our texture. Now I'll go ahead and show you how to make the alpha layer, and that's going to basically provide the transparency for this texture. We want to, since this was its own new transparent layer, right click it and hit select pixels, and now we're going to go into the channels, and we're going to create a new channel, and this is your alpha channel. It names itself, that's fine, alpha 1, and we're going to say edit fill with white, and there you have an alpha channel right there. Alright, so this could cause some problems on your seams, but for now we don't care. We're just going to use it so that you can learn how to do this and perfect it later. Let's go back to our layers, and the last thing we need to do is change this background. You see I have 2 close shades of green here, and I'm going to use those to use the gradient fill tool. And in the background layer, hold Shift and click and drag down, and that's going to fill my background, and I want to go from dark to light on the top. And this is basically just going to help this green blend with the background so that you'll see why it works a lot better. And you want it to have be pretty close to what your grass is, so that looks like it'll work fine. Let's go ahead and export this to using CryTiff, and I'm going to name it 3D Veg 01. And RGB needs to be RGB alpha and unchecked tiled, and the preset needs to be diffuse with alpha underscore high Q, and hit OK. So now to wherever you save that file, I'm going to open the CryEngine game objects, and I made a 3D Veg 01 folder. and drag the CryTiff into this folder. And it's very important that you have the editor for CryEngine open when you drag these files, because that way a DDS is going to be auto-generated for you. And it's also important that our 3ds Max file be saved in the same place in the CryEngine game objects 3D Veg01 folder. Everything's going to be in the same spot. So after we save that, let's go ahead and add our material to our model. Okay, now let's go to our material editor, and we're just going to choose one of these blank materials and rename it 3D Veg01, and the shader needs to be Crytek shader. And down here at the bottom you see maps, and we need to set first the diffuse color and select bitmap, and that'll let you navigate to your image. So in the CryEngine game objects 3D Veg folder we just made, choose the CryTiff, not the DDS, and you'll see this was applied here. And in order to get the transparency, we need to go back up to the parent, and we're going to first apply the parent to the model. And in order to actually see it, you need to click Show Shaded Material in Viewport. And now to add the opacity, we need to go to None next to Opacity, and we're going to choose down here the diffuse color map, which was just created when we added that material. And for this we need to set a few settings. Mono channel output needs to be alpha, and you need to click Show Shaded Material in Viewport, and then you need to go back up and click Show Shaded Material in Viewport again, and then up here at the top you need to click two-sided, basically telling the material that this is, just a flat polygon two-sided model. So there you can see we have a basis for grass, and we have some seam problems here, which is basically because the bottom of these seams are showing up at the top here. So what we'll do for a quick temporary fix is to go from the parent material down to the diffuse color map, and if you click that you have tiling options, and the V is the vertical, so if you just push it down one, you see the whole thing gets pushed down one. And that'll work for now, but like I said, in the forums we're going to discuss how to actually properly map these and model them correctly. And let's go ahead and export this into the game. Okay, one quick thing is sometimes when you bring a model into the game, it rotates 90 degrees. And I talked to someone from Crytek about this, and they said the best way to deal with this is just to make a box in your, just a quick create a box and attach your material or your vegetation to the box, and then delete the box. And so you might not have to do this, you might just skip ahead and extract your model, but for the tutorial I'm just going to do the box now in case. So I'm going to go to create box, just create any box, and modify it and turn it into an editable poly. And then I'm going to click on attach and click on my vegetation, and that just attached them. And now I'll go into the element select mode and find the element, the box, and hit delete. And now we should actually be ready to extract everything. Let's go to the utilities, CryEngine 3 exporter, which we set up in an earlier tutorial. We select all our objects, add selected, and we set the path to game CryEngine game objects 3D Veg01, same place we've been working from. Hit save, and I'm gonna export nodes. Probably make sure you have the editor open, and that just worked smooth. So I'm gonna come down here, make sure I have in my material editor the parent material selected that I want to extract the material, and click create material. And it might not navigate to the same object grass 3D Veg01 folder I made, so navigate there and name this the same, and hit save, and it automatically brings the material up in the game.